Hello and welcome to the Homeless Consultants.
I say let him go. Sit down, sir.
I cannot give the kind of judgment that you wish to force upon us.
We do not deal with justice here, but with the law.
Hi, I just wanted to make a quick note here at the beginning of this series of videos. Obviously I had to get a hotel room tonight for reasons you'll learn about in this video. I actually found one that the Minnesota Department of Health has not yet shut down. Go figure. I just wanted to say please watch the entire video series before making judgments or assuming that I'm making judgments. I make these videos in real time. I do my best to make them as close to the event in question at the time to document it. And that means documenting my state, my speech, how red my face is, how much my eye is twitching from nerves. The emotional topic of this particular series is raw, sheer terror imposed upon me once again by government. So I just want to make sure that as you watch these, at least the first couple videos, which I've already made and I'm editing right now, keep in mind that there's going to be a resolution at the end of this, and I want to make sure you follow through to the end, because there's some people who deserve a lot of credit, and I will give that credit. I didn't necessarily give it in this first video though, and that's why I wanted to add this little clip here. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and please do watch the entire series here. Alright? Thank you so much. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant. And the big news today is that I, after finishing up a work week of 40 hours plus a little bit of overtime, not much, I went to sleep because the human body requires that people sleep. If you don't sleep, things happen such as your body deteriorates and you die. So I thought I'd go to sleep. And since I live in my car and I have no choice but to live in my car, I did so in my car. And I did so in the same place that I have done for quite a long time. Like in this case, at this particular place, well over a year. This particular place is a Walmart parking lot. And I actually came in, I actually only had time for about 2 hours sleep because I had to get up early to do the laundry. So when I woke up, I found this thing taped to my windshield, to my window. I don't know if you can view it, but maybe you can view this part at the top that says, "Second time car is towed." The text says nothing about cars. It only talks about big rig trucks. But what it is it's basically a notice: you cannot sleep out here or your car's going to get towed. Okay? So I went inside to speak to the manager, and it's early in the morning, so they had, I think, the assistant manager, not the general manager. And they were very nice. You know, Walmart is greatly appreciated, not just by people who have nowhere to sleep, homeless people, but RV, people who ride around in RVs, a great place to park for those. Walmart has always been very much appreciated by us for that kind of courtesy, that kind of humanity. And so the people inside were very nice. They spoke to me about it, but they were focusing on this. They kept pointing at this and saying, you know, well, it's this city ordinance that says that this private business cannot determine who's in their parking lot. Let me state that again in case you didn't understand. I want to make sure you get it clearly. This is a private business with a very large property, and the government is telling them who they can have park in their parking lot and who they cannot have. So the people at Walmart were perfectly willing, and I asked them, you know, I said, well, what if the city didn't have a problem with it. And they said we wouldn't have a problem with it either. You know, which says a lot for Walmart. Good for them. What is the government doing telling a private business that in a parking lot that has several hundred cars in it at any given moment during the day, that this particular car can't be there because there's a human being sleeping in it, when sleeping is a function that you have to do. It's required by nature or you will die. That's the question I want to ask. And there's one other point I want to make, and I made it to the people inside. I'm not sure they understood exactly what I was saying. I wanted to ask them about this, but I also wanted to, as a courtesy back to them, I wanted to make sure that they understood, because what they told me was they get fined by the city if out of the hundreds of cars in this parking lot, that particular car has a person sleeping in it. They get fined like $250 for each instance. And I told them the problem I have with that is that it was the city, it was the same city, it was the police department of the city who told me to sleep here. Now, I know this is kind of tough to wrap your brain around something like this, so try to stay with me. The city, the government, which has many departments, too many departments. It has a zoning department who's responsible for this nonsense. Then you have the police department who, when they, wake me up with this, when I'm sleeping in the middle of the night, and this is what I wake up to, with a huge bright flashlight in my eyes, so I wake up like this at 3 in the morning. That police officer the police repeatedly, when I would say, where do I sleep then? Because I have to sleep. They would say, go to Walmart. They allow it. So I went to Walmart. And you know what? They allowed it. Thank you, Walmart. Thank you. That's a life-saving opportunity. Thank you, Walmart. But what's the city doing? If the city tells people to sleep at Walmart, but then the city fines Walmart if people are sleeping there, I'm sorry, but that falls under criminal racketeering. You see, when you create a situation and someone is punished if such and such happens, but then you also create the conditions that make such and such happen. Not the person you're fining, but you. So you create both the crime and the punishment, but someone else pays the price. That's called racketeering. It's like when Rocco goes into a store that's just doing fine, a family-owned hardware store. Everything's fine. And Rocco walks in and he creates both the problem and the solution. He says, you know what? I'm worried about someone burning your place down. I really don't want, and he's holding a gas can and a book of matches. He said, I'm really worried someone's going to burn your place down. Tell you what, if you give me some money, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to make sure that person doesn't burn this place down. Just give me some money. So Rocco's creating the problem and the solution, but it's the other person who pays the price. It's called racketeering, and people go to prison for that. My question is, why aren't the people in the city of Burnsville, Minnesota, going to prison for criminal racketeering? Because they're not just talking about burning a place down, they're talking about 10,000 homeless people who, by the laws of nature, will die if they can't sleep. Because there is no place else in this whole region where you can sleep. The store owner is okay with it. We're okay with it. I haven't gotten any complaints from the hundreds and hundreds of other cars who come in and out while I'm there sleeping. It seems like the only people who have a problem with it are the very people who told me to be here in the first place. Walmart, if you watch this video, I want to thank you so much on behalf of me, on behalf of other homeless people, RV drivers, truck drivers who have a very difficult time as well. Truck drivers, they have a hard time. Thank you so much for what you do, allowing people to park in your parking lots. And I hope that at least most of them will be very respectful. I, for one, try to pick up trash, move carts. get them out of the way. I try my best to help the little bit I can, and to shop there to show my gratitude. Thank you, Walmart. But city of Burnsville, Minnesota, I need an explanation. I need an explanation for why I'm living in a car and you're not in a prison. Because you're committing criminal racketeering and I'm not. I'm going to work for a living, doing honest work where I don't hurt anybody. I don't do things like this to people. I don't do things like this, because what this really says is, second time, your home will be moved away, is what it says, if you read it carefully. Because this car is my home. So my next step is to talk to the city of Burnsville, but I don't know if I'm going to have time, because the problem is now I have no place to sleep. And when you don't sleep, you might look up online what happens to people when they don't get any sleep. They quickly lose control of their faculties, they lose control of their body, and they die. So let's see how quick the city of Burnsville, Minnesota will rectify this. Because by all appearances, I can't fathom the reason for this. I'll show you how big this parking lot is. When a couple of cars here and there have people sleeping in them, and they're not allowed to be here, but everybody else is allowed to be here, including all these housed people who do all the crimes that I witness. The drug dealing out there, it's not the homeless people doing that, it's the housed people. The people with prostitutes, the gangbangers who come out and just make trouble, the people who go looking in other people's cars because they want to steal something. That's not the homeless people. Those are the people who the city of Burnsville allows to park here without any punishment at all. They don't threaten to take away their home or their vehicle. They're just allowed to do it. They're free. They're perfectly free, like you would expect people to be in a free country, because this is private property. So I'm going to talk to the city of Burnsville and see if they have an explanation for this. And again, any attorneys who are out there watching this, I would like you to take notice of the fact that Walmart is being fined they're being fined by the same entity that is creating both the problem and the solution. They tell us to sleep here, and then they fine Walmart because we're sleeping here. That is criminal racketeering. If you don't care whether I live or die, or the other 10,000 homeless people in Minnesota, fine. If you're an attorney, here's your chance to make some money, because I know from experience that that's the main thing you're concerned about. Why don't you help Walmart fight this, and help these other businesses fight this, and get their freedom back? Because this is their property, and if they're okay with us sleeping out there, we should be able to sleep out there. If they tell us they don't want us sleeping here, I need to respect that, and I will. But when some third-party, gargantuan, overbearing government comes in and starts playing games with people's lives like this, I get upset. And I hope Walmart will as well. Walmart, you have a big legal team. I'll leave it up to you whether you feel that the humanitarian gesture in fighting this is appropriate, but I hope you'll consider it. And again, before I go, I want to thank Walmart one more time. There aren't places that do this for people. You've saved lives, Walmart, while places like the city of Burnsville, Minnesota are willing to let lives be destroyed. You've been saving them by giving us a place to sleep. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. All right. I'll get back to you when I have more on this one, unless I die beforehand, because as of now, I'm a working man who has no place to sleep anywhere, ever.